everybody, it's Caleb, and I'm sick. So we're going to be reading a shitty story called Dark Yagami, The Adventures of Light and Dark Yagami. I don't want to read this because it's 102 pages, but I don't really give a shit because it's the only thing I have. And I don't have the internet right now, and I don't want to just sit here and do nothing. So we're gonna read this. Light and Dark, The Adventures of Dark Yagami. Author, Dark Yagami. 1 of 47 chapters. Fuck you. Please don't let this be another minor life. I just want to read something that's stupid and fun. Light's twin brother Dark moves in with them. What secrets does he have? Has Kassie and Sayu and Misa edit. His other sister Night Yagami, you're so clever, will come as well. Find her secrets too. Chapter 1, A New Beginning of Action. Light and Dark. Oh wait, that's just the title again. Light. Author's note. Hi, thanks for reading. Please rate high. Note the story has some cusses, but it's Light's dad that says them, so it's pretty funny. Though not really, that doesn't make any sense. Also, if you know what Light's mom is called, please tell me it all. It's, Sachiko, I think. Title drop again. It was a hot day, and Light came home from school. As he got into his house, he saw a strange car outside, and he knew immediately it was not American because the wheel was on the wrong side. Guys, you're in Japan. Driver's side is on the other side. So, of course, it wouldn't be American. He walked in the front door to find his dad, Soichiro, and his mom, author's note. I can't remember her name, sorry. They looked surprised to see him. You could just say his dad and mom. You don't really need to know what their names are. Mom, Dad, with no comma. What's going on? Light asked them. Light, we have something to tell you, with no punctuation whatsoever, said his dad while playing with his mustache, because he snidely whiplash. This is your twin brother, Dark Yagami, they both said together, and pointed to the guy in the corner of the room. That he didn't notice for some reason, because, Light isn't that smart. Oh, wait. Dark looked exactly the same as Light, except that he had black hair and was dressed like Mello? Okay. But Light hadn't met Mello yet, so he didn't know that. Smiley face, wink. He got up and walked across the room. Hi, bro, I'm Dark, he said, lolling and offered his head to shake. How could you not tell me about this? Light shouted like mad, for some reason. We sent him to a top-secret orphanage in Wales? It's a town in England. I'm pretty sure it's not spelt like the animal, though. And I'm not sure about that being a town, but I could be wrong. I don't know anything about England. Where he would learn to be the next L. Guys, that's not how that works. That's not how that works in the show, guys. We can't tell anyone because it's top secret and Kira might find out and Kira might try and kill him, his mom said. Which is exactly why you tell Light, of all people. It's secret, which is why you tell Light. And we're not supposed to tell anyone, which is why you tell Light. Kira might kill him, which is why you tell Light. Light was crazy and punched the table. Because that's a reasonable thing to do. I'm going to my room. Come on, Sayu, who's suddenly there for some reason, he said, and Sayu, Light's sister, lol, followed him upstairs for some reason. I'm sorry, Light. I wanted to tell you about Dark, but Mom and Soichiro wouldn't let me. So wait, this super secret brother you have, and even Sayu knows about him, but Light doesn't? What the crap? That's okay, Light replied. You're my sister, without it being you are. my sister, and I know how much you love me. Thanks, Light. They hugged. Because this is what's important now. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. It was dark. Come on. Jason. I know, but not right now. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. It was dark. Come on, Dark. I've got something to show you, Light said, and they went into their room. Light's parents had made Light's bed into a double bed. I know what you're thinking, sickos. No, there's no Slash. No, why would I think that? And if they're twins, that would mean it was incestuous Slash. I don't think you know what you're talking about. And wouldn't Light notice that his room is different if they're... And wouldn't his parents mention that he's going to be living with them now? You can't... Whatever. Light put the pencil in the door to stop people listening. No. And said, I'm Kira. Dark immediately shooted. He shooted? Oh, well, he took Matsuda's job, apparently. Dark immediately shooted. I know it. You're a worthy successor to L. I know why you're his successor now. No, what? We don't know anything. And why would you just tell him that you're Kira? And Sayu never left. So, well, Sayu knows now too. Apparently, all this secret bullshit isn't actually secret anymore. Don't worry, bro. I won't tell anyone. In fact, I have a death note of my own. How? How do you have your own death note? Where's your Shinigami? Dark replied, pulling a blood-red notebook out of pants. So he pulled the notebook out of its own pants. I wasn't aware notebooks could wear pants. He put it there in case his bags were searched. If they're searching your bags, they're likely going to scan and search your person. Hey, your death note is a different color to mine, he said, pointing to the black death note in Light's draw. Stop saying color. You're in America now. It's color. How many times in the show do they talk about Japan and mention that they're in Japan? And this whole story takes place in Japan? Quite a lot. In fact, even if you blink, you couldn't miss it. Also, how would you know, aside from an accent, if another character is that's like me telling Phoenix that when he says color, when Hushcho says color, I have to correct him and remind him to say, no, it's not color, it's color. Derp. 'Cause you're in America now, bitch. You speak like us. Do you get it, Essay? You know, it's like doing some kind of bullshit like that. Stop saying color. You're in America now. It's color. Light replied, exasperated, even though they're not American, they're Japanese, but whatever. Sorry, lol, Dark said. This is my Shinigami, he said, and Light saw a big monster appear. He was like twice the size of Ryuk and had big mohawk made of blood and skulls. How is that a mohawk? Unless you mean he's just wearing some red skulls in a line on his head. Even Light was scared of him. He was scared of Ryuk when he first met Ryuk. Big deal. He was eating bananas like Ryuk ate apples, but they were blood bananas made of blood. No, that's not how they work. That's not how stuff works. He'd be eating real bananas. Also, I see what you did there. And what happened to Sayu? He's big, said Light as the Shinigami bit down on a blood banana. What's his name? Because you couldn't ask the Shinigami himself what his name was. Also, that's not punctuation, that's just a slash. My name is Blid. B-L-U-D. With no punctuation. and I don't know why the whole thing's capitalized, said Blood as he kept eating the blood banana. So he's blood, I guess. I am the new king of the Shinigami, and I have a special death note that kills anyone whose name is written in it, even if you don't know their face or name. No. All of that is a no. You can't do anything. No. You can't replace the king of Shinigami. That is not how that works. You cannot have a special death note that kills anyone, even if you don't know their face or name. That doesn't make any sense. Because, what? Are you just going to take a picture of them and stick it in your notebook and that kills them somehow? A good way of being secretive as you try to avoid the authorities and witnesses. I guess you gotta kill everybody. What if there's more than one person in the picture? I guess you just kill all of them then. I mean, we don't even know how this notebook works. It's just like, hey, I want you dead. Whoever you are, you dead. And then you die. That's dumb. I have to unpack now, said Dark, because I wasn't already unpacked before the parrots somehow in a day, less than a day, changed my bedroom to fit 2 people. And I don't know why Sayu is still there, but apparently she never left. Whatever. Okay, I will leave you to it, Light replied. Wasn't Light pissed off? And now he's suddenly okay with this random guy he's never met living in his room with him. In fact, it would be much more interesting if Light, for some dumb reason, hadn't revealed that he was Kira, and would actually have to be Kira somehow operating still with a dude in the same room as him who's supposedly just as intelligent as he is. Whatever. Dark took his cell phone out of his special place. Author's note. Figure it out yourself, lol. Why would you keep a cell phone there? And press the L button. Okay, I'm not sure when this story was written, but by the time this story was written, there probably weren't phones that had their own keypad. So it not only would be the L button, but it would be the J, K, and L button. Whatever. And press the L button. L's phone began to ring. Hello, who is this, and how'd you get my number? L said angry. Wouldn't L know? You don't just... L doesn't just give out his phone number to anyone. That would be dumb. Do you know how many prank calls he would get being a master detective? I am D, Dark said. I have killed Mello and stolen his clothes and run away from Watari's house. It's not called Watari's house. You can't have killed Mello. Mello would be too smart for this. And considering what Mello's age would be at this point in time in the story, and what Light's age is, and since you're his twin, thus your age would be at this point in the story, there is no way in hell you could have fit Mello's clothing. No way at all. And he wasn't dressed like that yet. What? But Watari would have told me if M was dead, L said shockingly. I also killed Watari, which is impossible considering Watari is always with L, said Dark, who was playing with his red death note. L looked around his room. Watari was still standing in the corner, just like he always did. But who's this with me then? L asked. What the fuck? A fake. At that moment, Watari took his mask off and was... Light's dad! What? 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 It was Light's dad! I expected Voldemort! How did Light's dad get from a Japanese living room to Whammy's house? Whatever. Die, you piece of shit, because that makes sense that Light's dad would say that. In English, no less. Suichiro said as he pulled out his gun and pointed at L's head. LS head. To be continued. Yes. Well, that was special. Chapter 2. I explained some stuffs. Flashback. 1 month ago. Watari House, England. It's not the Watari House. Mello was sitting in his dorm eating a chocolate bar. The floor was covered in lots of chocolate bar wrappers, which went crunch when Mello stood on them. They really wouldn't crunch. There was a knock on the door. "Come in," said Mello, putting down his chocolate. The door spun open to reveal Dirk standing wearing a dressing gown with a posh letter D on the back. He had an evil smile on his face and an even eviler one in his heart. Yes, and an even eviler one. Eviler. "Where is Near?" asked Dirk, puzzled. "He is near," joked Mello. "Ha ha, very funny," replied Dirk. "Okay, he's gone to Scotland today, but will be flying back this evening. Until then, we'll be alone." Mello started zipping his leather vest thingy. "Want to have some fun?" Wait, if he's asking if he wants to have sex, then why is he zipping his leather vest? Shouldn't he be unzipping it? And he's not wearing that shit now. He wears that when he's 21. 6 years into the future from now. Dirk grinned and nodded. In a flash, Mello had removed his close, revealing just a set of black boxer shorts printed with lots of posh letter M's, because Mello would wear something like that. Dirk pulled a pistol out of his dressing gown and pointed it at Mello, because Mello wouldn't have been able to figure this out. "Just because you look like a girl doesn't mean you're hot. I thought you said this contained slash. So wouldn't it not matter if he was a girl or not? And guys can look hot. They don't have to be girls to be hot. And just because they're girls doesn't mean they are hot. There are some pretty ugly looking women in existence. I'm one of them." "Just because you look like a girl doesn't mean you're hot," said Dirk, and shot him and stole his clothes, but not the boxers of. "Yes, I get it. I say, what is all this noise? I say, really?" "English people talk just like American people," said Watari, coming in the room, "because you weren't smart enough to use a silencer." He saw Dirk's gun and shouted, with no ending mark, "Bloody bugger! Bloody bugger! You don't actually know anything about England. You just heard some words that seem English enough and threw them together without actually knowing what they were. You shot Mello. Now who will kill Kira? Because the quotation's inside the question. Well, let's see. Considering that Mello and Near aren't supposed to have anything to do with Kira, and it's Elle who's after Kira, I don't know why this would be a concern of Watari's. Also, why is Watari at Whammy's house? Why is he there? Dirk shot Watari again, and he fell to the floor shouting. Then he stopped shouting and died. Once he had escaped the house, Dirk took his mobile. Author's note, that's what English people call cell phones. Also, by the way, it's called a mobile phone, and called a mysterious phone number. "Hello, who is this?" asked the mustached man. "Well, there's not much mystery about that then, is there? I am your son Dirk, the one you abandoned 19 years... No. If he's the twin of Light, then he's about 16 or 17. He is not 19 years old. At most, he'd be 18. At most. I am your son Dirk, the one you abandoned 19 years. Just 19 years. There's no ago or anything, just 19 years. And sent to a boarding school in England. If they gave you up for adoption, Generally, you don't know, unless it's an open adoption, and I doubt it would be. There's no way you could find out any information on your biological parents. There's just not. 19 years and sent to a boarding school in England. Well, I have escaped now, and I need you to do me a favor and dress up like Watari and confuse L. There's so much wrong with this right now. So much wrong. Because Soichiro would know how to dress up like a guy he's never met before, depending on when this story takes place. Be able to go to England, speak perfect English, with accent and everything, and fool somebody as great in mind with logical reasoning as much as Sherlock Holmes is. This would not work. This could not possibly be a thing. This would not happen. How do you know about Watari? Asked the dad, who was very confused. No longer a mysterious phone call. It's Dad now. I killed him. There was a surprise guess, but then Soichiro came back and said he would do it, but only if Dark came back to live with them in America. In Japan! They don't live in America, they're in Japan. Dark agreed, but he didn't have money, so he would have to hide in a box and fly in an airplane and hope he didn't get spotted. I'm pretty sure that the place where they keep your stuff isn't suitable for human existence. You would probably run out of oxygen. Granted, a guy managed to fit himself, what was it, onto the wheel of the plane or something, and survive. So it's doable, but highly unlikely and very dangerous. And I think getting spotted hiding in a box is the least of your problems by now. 1 week later, Soichiro took the trunk of the spinner. What? Oh. Soichiro took the trunk off the spinner and carried it to the car. You don't know what the baggage claim is. No one but him knew that Dark was hiding inside it. They went through the X-ray machine. What? But there was no danger because the box had lead in it and confused the machine and stopped the X-rays being seen. No! If they couldn't see inside something, they would personally open it up and inspect it and then be like, what in the flying shit is a dude doing in here? This is like some some crazy outlaw star shit going on. So no, this would not work at all. Plus, how do you have air in there? You didn't say anything about having an oxygen tank. Once no one could see them, Soichiro opened the box and Dark jumped out. Good job, Dad. Wait, then how did you get the English car, to Japan? Because I would assume you would... I was thinking ferried the car there. But what do I know? Dark. Good job, Dad, said Dark as he jumped into the car. Now take me to Light. I have a lot of interesting things to say to him. ... How do you know anything about your family? Well, granted, if you're like Light, you probably researched this shit, but still. Present day. L dodged Light's dad's bullets, and because you could do that when you're surprised unexpectedly, and ran across the room. He hid behind a pile of candy and said, Stop, Soichiro, I can help you. What? Then Soichiro ran over and said, I know I have not really betrayed you. Instead, I have learned that Dark killed Watari and Mello. L was shocked, because he couldn't have investigated this and found out it himself. In fact, he should really know all this by now, because he's likely constantly in communication with Whammy House. And I'm pretty sure if something that big happened, well, there's still Roger, and so he would have very much told L what happened. Whatever. In fact, I think Dark is Kira. You can figure that about your son you haven't seen in 19 years, apparently. Or I assume it's years. It might have been 19 minutes, 19 days, who knows. But you can't figure this out about Light, who sits in his room and monologues very loudly about everything. Okay. Of course, it all makes sense now, Shaladel. No, it does not. He framed his twin brother when in fact he is killing people somehow. We have to stop him. What? That doesn't make a lick of sense, and Elle would not say that. He'd just be like, oh, well, I guess psychotic crazy runs in the family. So yeah, it might be Light. And I'm pretty sure it's no mystery how he killed Watari or Mello. Considering he had a gun and Kira has the frickin' death note that kills people with heart attacks. We have to stop him. I think I have a plan, ... said Soichiro, twisting his mustache like an evil guy, even though they're technically the good guys. Don't worry, there's more soon! This story is dumb. Chapter 3. Misa and Sayu do sexy stuff. Why? Misa is all about Light. And if we know Misa by this point in the story, she has no interest in Sayu. Back at Light's house, because it wouldn't be the Yagami household, it'd just be Light's house. Light switched on the news. There were lots of evil people on TV, so he wrote their names down and killed them. Because he wouldn't, plan for these guys to die in, within weeks with various accidents and things. Dark, meanwhile, was still unpacking his box, which was full of detective stuff he had been given while he was at Watari's house. He fled after killing 2 guys. When did he have the chance to pack his shit and mail it to the house? Plus, that is traceable. Why wouldn't he just show up in Japan and buy himself a whole bunch of shit? The doorbell rang and Light shouted, I'll get it. Because it sounded like his parents or sister was downstairs and would have been more easily able to get it than him, but whatever. He ran down the stairs and opened the door. It was Misa. Misa was wearing a lacy dress, but it wasn't all goth like her old one. Well, Misa dresses like a goth. Why wouldn't, whatever. Well, technically it's like gothic Lolita, but anyway. Instead, it was white and had a blue skirt, which was short. Why? And it wouldn't be a dress if she's wearing a skirt. It's a top and a skirt. Ah, Misa, I am happy to see you. I'm sure he is. Light said, hugging. Well, he's got to keep up pretenses. He looked around, scaredly. He looked around scaredly. His mom was in the next room and might hear him. Light doesn't actually like Misa, right? While he himself thinks he's a good guy, he thinks Misa is one of the bad people. And that he's just using her as a pawn to get what he wants. He doesn't like Misa at all. And why go through all of this if nobody's watching other than to please Misa? And again, keep up pretenses that Misa is his girlfriend. Did you bring the he winked homework he winked again? Why? She's not in college. She's a model. She is not in college. Yes. She doesn't say. He just reads her mind or something. Come with me, he said, and they went upstairs. Light and Misa went upstairs and knocked on the door. Hang on, I'm getting changed, said Dark. Okay, he's probably naked, so you can't go in there. Well, that's sort of what I'm changing implies. Wait out here for me, Light said to Misa as he opened the door. And plus, why would Dark say that when he could just be like, hey, Light, if it's just you, Light, I'm changing, but come on in. If it's anybody else, come stay out there for a minute. I'll get the door momentarily. Once Misa was alone, Sayu came out the closet. Get it? Yes, I get it. Oh, she came out of the closet as a lesbian. I'm so shocked, cause I so got the lesbian vibe from a middle schooler. Oh man. A middle schooler who doesn't get much time on the show at all, except when she's getting fucking kidnapped. Tongue sticking out face. Hey, Misa, I know your secret. Your as in something that belongs to you instead of something that you have, she said. Misa tried to look calm, but the fear in her eyes said a different story. She was very frightened because this girl might know the truth and she would be in trouble. Sayu didn't seem to care when her brother just mentioned that he had a death note and that he was Kira, because they never said anything about her leaving the room. And apparently she knows Dark got one too, so yeah, she's fine with that shit. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, scared. I know that you and Light and Dark are Kira, because Dark and Light knew about each other. They were just lying to their parents in the very first chapter, and they've both been Kira the entire time. They both have. They've worked together from the start. Are Kira and killing people? No! Don't tell people! You have to keep it a secret, Misa screamed. So now everybody knows you have a super bad secret that nobody should know about. Good job, Misa. Okay, I won't tell Elle on one condition. You have to sex with me. What? Why? Just why? Just why? Whatever. I don't even know how Sayu could get in contact with Elle. Well, I guess through her dad, but still. Misa looked surprised. She stepped back and gasped. You're, as in something that belongs to you instead of something that you have. You're a lesbian? She asked curiously. Yes, why are you? Sayu said back sexily. First of all, she didn't say it, she asked a question. Though she didn't finish her question, she just left it hanging. I am vicarious, Misa what? I am vicarious, Misa replied as she took her dress off and walked into Sayu's room. What if their dad and mom happened to be there and just saw Misa walking around in the hall naked? I'm also pretty sure they wouldn't approve of you having sex like that. Meanwhile, in Light's room, Dark and Light were talking about the new powerful death note. Because who gives a shit that Misa's out in the hall waiting for me? And more caps. I got it because I killed the old king of the Shinigami, and that made me the new king, said Blood. The king gets a powerful death note that lets him kill whoever he wants. So you really shouldn't have been able to kill the king. He should have just killed your ass. And he also gets a palace and a wife and all the blood bananas he can eat. So, yes, but the Shinigami realm, everything sucks. And I don't think he lives in a palace. He lives in, like, a cave or something, like a crater, because he is huge. The Shinigami King is fucking huge. And I don't think he gets a wife, considering one of the rules is Shinigami don't have sex. They don't even have the parts to have sex if they could have sex. Let's try it out, said Light. Okay, to test it, let's kill this guy. He pointed to a tall, ugly guy on the TV, because you can't kill pretty people. The man was fat and was presenting the weather. That is really douche of you. But I don't know his name. You would know his name if he's a local guy. The people on the news give out their names. It's not that hard to know what his name is. But I don't know his name, said Light, confused. You don't need to. All you need is the face, replied nobody. Light wrote in the death note, and sure enough, the man died. You can't write in the death note if you don't know somebody's name. That's not how it works. Oh my god, that is so good, said Light, amazed as he watched the man roll around the floor dying. Now let us try it on more TV people. Why would they do that? Kira kills criminals. They don't just kill random people on TV, they kill criminals. Meanwhile, back in Sayu's room, Sayu and Misa were both in their underwear, as in a place, not something that belongs to them. Sayu was wearing a blue Nike sports bra. Why? Why wouldn't she just wear a normal bra? I mean, sports bras are more comfortable and you can wear them in place of a normal bra, but yeah. Blue Nike sports bra, and I don't know why it's important I know the brand. And short. And Misa was wearing a bikini with glitter on it that was shiny against her blonde hair. So she's wearing a bikini against her shiny blonde hair. Why wouldn't... You mean, is she wearing bikini-style underwear? Is she wearing an actual bikini set? What is Misa doing? Misa let her hair down, and to Sayu, you look so hot. Because when somebody blackmails me into having sex with them, I reply with that they're hot, even though, as a woman, I've never expressed interest in another woman. Sayu leaned over and began making out with Misa. Quickly, she unbuttoned Misa's bikini. Wouldn't it be unclasped? Granted, I don't know much about bikinis, being a person who wouldn't look good in one. And it fell to the floor, leaving her topless. You mean her bikini bra. Anyway, Sayu then took her own underwear off as she was naked underneath. And she was naked underneath. Well, I would hope so if you're taking off your underwear. I don't know why you would be wearing more than one pair of underwear for your underwear. That's some pretty shitty underwear if you have to wear more than one pair. Misa squeaked as Sayu began moving down and Frenched her neck. How? How? I think you mean licked her neck, but apparently the neck you can French kiss a neck. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Sayu cursed and went to the door. She opened the door and it was dark. He looked shocked and said, "My sister is a lesbian." Sayu realized she was naked and slammed the door shut. Why would you fully open the door if you're naked, knowing other family members are in the house? Let alone keeping your lover in plain sight where anybody could see her. Because we can't apparently put the U in fuck. Off, you perv. Mom and Soichiro. Nobody calls their dad by his name. Should be Mom and Dad. Anyway, Mom and Soichiro should never have adopted you back, she screamed. I'm sorry, Misa, but we'll have to do this some other time, said Sayu. Misa winked back and said, I hope so, and grinned. You were just blackmailed. You guys didn't do anything. Whatever. And grinned. She took her cloths and put them on and climbed out the window. Why? So no one would see. Why not just leave? Dark already knows she's there. Light knows she's there. Light let her in. Why? And how is she going to get down? They're on the second floor. When she was alone, she took Misa's bag, because Misa wouldn't take it with her, bag that she had left behind. She looked inside it and found a black notebook inside. She took the secret cell phone her dad, Soichiro, had given her and called it. "Hi, Dad. I did what you asked and got Misa's bag." Because Misa wouldn't have took it with her, knowing that the Death Note is really fucking important. "There's a book inside, and it says Death Note on the front." No, and no. That is not what Misa's Death Note says. I mean, it probably does say Death Note, but it's in the Shinigami language. There's a book inside, and it says Death Note on the front, and it's full of dead people. That must be really stinky. That must be quite stinky if it's full of dead people. I did not realize that Misa was a cannibal. Go figure. Excellent, Dad replied, because that's something I'll be happy about. Finding out my boy's girlfriend is a cannibal and keeps dead people inside a notebook in her purse. Now the game can begin, because Soichiro talks like that. Oh my god, what? Oh my god, what? Okay. Oh my god, what? Find out more next time. Same bat channel, same bat time. Chapter 4, I forgot what happens, but cool. Author's note, there seems to be something wrong with my account. It keeps posting the first line twice. Sorry. Also contains, Naomi OC and Takada OC. Real hot. And then, of course, it's posted twice. So I'm not reading it again. The next day, Naomi walked in the front door of the police and asked at the desk for L, because he's at the police station. Yeah, the woman behind the desk was hot looking, and also she was bi. Because Naomi doesn't have a fiancé or anything, though by this point he's dead, so I guess it doesn't matter. It's not like she's recovering from the fact that her fiancé died, even though her fiancé was kind of a dick, and the only interaction we saw between them. "Hi, I'm Naomi. I need to speak to Elle," she shouted urgently, because the entire police station needs to know about this. "Kira killed my husband," you mean fiancé, "and I think I know who he is." That's not what she wanted to talk to Elle about. We're just jumping all over the plot line, aren't we? Because before Misa or anything with the second Kira, Naomi was already dead. This was behind us. "So that means you're single, the desk lady winked. "Because that's something I ask as soon as I find out somebody's husband just died." Smooth. Naomi was taken aback. The desk lady was coming on to her. "Naomi spelled backwards is I am moron," added the desk lady flirtily. "I think somebody just lost their chance." "I don't have time for this," said Naomi anxiously as she took the desk lady's number to call her later and maybe have sex, and ran into L's office. L does not have an office at the Japanese police. He does not. He is a private detective. L looked surprised. "Hi, I'm Naomi." Wait. "Hi, I'm Naomi. You don't know who I am, but..." "Yes, he does. He's worked with you before when you were part of the American FBI. I don't know why I said American FBI. I don't know. Are there really other FBIs besides the American FBI? I feel like crap. You don't know who I am, but I'm from the FBI. Totally not all capitalized. And my husband's from the FBI, but he's also dead because he was killed by Kira, and I want to hunt him down. But I think I know who he is," Naomi gasped. Well, I would think so, considering she didn't take the time to breathe while she was saying all of this. He replied, "I think I can help you then. Please sit down." L replied, pointing... Wait, you already said he replied. L replied, pointing to the chair that was so converted. Wait. to the chair that was covered in candy. I can't sit on that, Naomi said, because the candy was all sticky and melted and eaten, and it didn't look too good either. You didn't need that there. I already got the picture of that. That's kind of gross. Elle then got all the candy off the chair and picked it up and began eating it. Ew! The sight, as in a website, was truly one to behold, as the small, wrinkly fairy man, what? He's not wrinkly, nor is he a fairy, man began shoveling bits of sugar into his mouth. Naomi thought she was going to puke, but then she stopped herself and sat on the chair that Elle had just cleaned for her, because it wouldn't be sticky and shit, and why would Elle do that? So you wanted to tell me something? ... Meanwhile, at Light's house, it was the early morning, and Light and Dark were in bed together, but only because their, as in a place, parents were too poor. No. He's the chief of a police station. They might not be filthy rich, but I would imagine they have a nice, sizable income. Considering that Light bought a mini TV on his own and then just chunked it. Yeah. We're too poor to get separate rooms. What? They were too poor to get separate rooms. How about they were too attached to this house to get another house that would accommodate a new bedroom, a third bedroom for their kids, and that moving and actually trying to afford another house to do, it's really a pain in the ass. I should know. I had to do it within 3 weeks. Because their parents were too poor to get separate rooms. It's not like they're gay or anything. Light came all over the... What? See, this is why it's bad to have your children named after inanimate objects. Because then you get very interesting sentences like this one. Light came all over the bed from the window of the room. Even though they're totally not gay for each other, not committing incest, but Light still came. All the way from the window of the room. Dark reached around and grabbed the cock from the table. You're doing this on purpose. Grabbed the cock from the table. It was 7 o'clock. When can I have my breakfast? It is already 7. And in the Shinigami world, I would eat like a dozen meals by now, because I am king. Please get me a blood banana. Why wouldn't you have this on your own? You're the king of the Shinigami realm, apparently. Why wouldn't you have your blood bananas? I don't know. I don't know why you have to beg him for one either, said Blood, as he danced around the room. Dark laughed at the dance. It was like the ketchup song. The ketchup song? I'm not familiar with that. But it was about blood, not ketchup, though Shinigami sometimes used blood as ketchup because it was blood. Shinigami don't eat unless they want to. His mohawk was bouncing everywhere. It was like the one on Sonic the Hedgehog, but it was not blue. You already described that it was made of blood and skulls. It can't be like Sonic's. Sonic also technically doesn't have a mohawk. He has spikes because he's a hedgehog. Dirt got out of bed and put on some cloths. He kept the blood bananas in a special case because other people might eat them thinking they were not blood bananas, even though it's pretty clear they look nothing like bananas since they're red and thus made out of blood. We're not blood bananas, and get a mouthful of blood banana and blood. Because, the blood bananas were made out of blood. He threw the blood banana at Blood, who immediately went down on it until there was nothing except its skin, which he could eat, but didn't because they're poisonous, but not to Shinigami. Then why would he not eat it if they're poisonous except to Shinigami? I went too far down. Why can't I have a blood banana? Asked Ryuk sadly as he ate an apple and felt left out. You wouldn't want to eat anything but an apple, Ryuk. That's not... Whatever. He was not allowed to eat blood bananas because he was not the king and was not safe to the poisons inside them. If they were poisonous, nobody, not even Shinigami, would eat them. If they are poisonous enough to kill a Shinigami. Back at the police, Kira is Mikami! That bastardly hound, said Light's dad, who was pretending to be English. Why would he pretend to be English? I don't get it. And nobody says that bastardly hound. I know he is Kira because he went on TV and he was evil. That doesn't make any sense, she said. You did the right thing coming to us, said L. Now we will kill him and put a stop to his evilness once and for all, period. Also, Mikami has nothing to do with them until the second half of the story, 6 years into the future. Now, stop his evilness once and for all, period. Watari took his... Wait, Watari? Watari's dead. Watari took his sniping gun and ran the door out. L followed eating a candy bar and a coffee and got in his helicopter and flew to Mikami's house where the action was. There was no action. Naomi went back to desk and filtered with the desk lady. Now where were we? She said as she zipped her motorcycle jacket down and led the desk lady into a quiet closet that was almost empty except there was a mop in there and also some paint that the janitor used to paint things with. You know, this is not how anything would happen. They made out for a bit. There's just one thing you should know, said Naomi, getting naked, as she took her jacket off and revealed a fancy suit that newscasters wear underneath. I'm not really Naomi, I'm Takada? What? Why? And wouldn't Elle know this? At Mikami's house in a helicopter. Elle turned on the sirens of the helicopter and shouted. The helicopter wouldn't have sirens, and you wouldn't be able to hear them even if they did. Come out with your hands up or I will shoot you, because Elle has the authority to do this. There was no reply, and Light's dad, dressed as Watari, shoot out a window just to show him he meant business and was not just some crazy guy in a helicopter, which is exactly what he was. This is your last chance, he shouted, and threw a smoke grenade into the house. Soichiro got a good shot at Mikami. When did Mikami come into view to actually do this? A good shot at Mikami and killed him in the leg. There was still no reply. Well, I would imagine so if he killed him in the leg, because apparently that's where Mikami exists. I will have to use stealth instead, said Elle. Well, there's no stealth to be had now, because he knows you're there, said Elle, and jumped in the broken window screaming. Why? And that is so not stealthy. Mikami, wait, you're dead. How can you look anywhere? Mikami looked up in shock. He wasn't expecting them, and certainly not the crazy boy that had jumped the window. That's bullshit. You can't expect someone you know is there? No! He was holding the death note. Why? He wouldn't have a death note yet. He doesn't get a death note until Light sends him a death note. He was holding a death note with one hand and his broken leg. No, you said he was killed by his leg. With the other, and it had the names of everyone he had ever killed written in it. That's how Elle knew it was the death note. Elle doesn't know what a death note is yet. Nobody knows what a death note is until they recover it from the third Kira. Mikami is in trouble, shouted Blood as he smooshed another blood banana into his already smooshed up mouth. What? One of the things good about being king is the king of the Shinigami is you could see all the death notes, and Blood was using it to see Mikami. Why would the Shinigami king care? What does it matter to him? He's a Shinigami. He's not allied to anybody but himself. If he talks, I'm dead, said Light, panic. Why don't you just kill Mikami if you already know who he is? Just kill him right then and there, and have him trash the death note somewhere. Burn it or something. Said Light, panicking. He knew he should have not told Mikami how to make a death note, even if he was an evil. Now he would write Light's name down unless... Why would Mikami do that? Mikami believes Light is God. How do you make a death note? Is this something anybody can do? I thought only the Shinigami could have death notes and give them to people. Well, technically not give them to people, but, drop them around the world if they wanted to. There's nothing really bad here. All Light has to do is write Mikami's name down in his death note and tell it and write an exception to the death that before he dies, Mikami gets rid of any and all evidence pertaining to his god Kira, so that Kira will not be detected by the police. Back in Mikami's house, I'm not the real Kira, shouted Mikami, who was scared. Mikami wouldn't do that because he believes he's a just person. He knew that there were laws against Kira. There are laws against killing people. There would not be any laws against Kira himself. And if he was caught, then the jig would be up. Not really, because all you'd have to do is keep your mouth shut. Then who's the real Kira? Asked Elle. Tell us, you fucking scumbag, because again, we're omitting the you and fucking. Added Light's dad, who was holding a knife to his neck like the Joker did. Which Joker? Do you mean Batman Joker? And which Batman movie? There are several movies. There's animated movies with the Joker. There's, actual live action movies with the Joker. There are cartoons with the Joker. He was mad with rage, and his mustache was covered in spit, and it was pretty rank, really. I'll tell you, for some reason, it's Light Yaga. Then he died. What? He just died, and he never told us the name. He told you pretty much what the name was, and you guys are dumb. We'll never know who it was, because it's not like there are other Kiras out there helping the main Kira. Elle raged and punched in a wall because Elle does that. He was strong for his looks and made a big hole. As in a whole lot of dumb. Meanwhile, in the janitor's cupboard, you mean closet, where Takada and the desk lady were sexing. Because this is important to the story. Oh, this is so good, mooned the desk lady who was found naked. So she's bent over talking from her ass. The stuff that was going on was pretty graphic, and I don't want to make this fic M, so I'll say it. So all I'll say is that it was sexy, and Takada was using mop, but was naked. You'll have to figure out how for yourself, Rolf. Suddenly Takada collapsed to the floor and the desk lady started screaming. She was death noted. Blood stopped watching the naked people and went back to light. Takada is dead, he said. Just as planned, Evil did Light, putting away his death note. OMFG, to be continued, because all of that totally made sense. Why would you kill Takada? Mikami was the one that was going to spill your secrets for some reason. Whatever. Also, great for, inputting your author's note in the middle of a sex scene. So, and again, why have a sex scene if you're not going to actually have a sex scene? Chapter 5. We meet Yotsuba and Matt. Flashback yesterday. Matt got on his motorbike and was racing across the country faster than a speeding bullet. His gloves were flapping in the wind. His goggles, not his gloves. Wind, and his mission was clear. He would revenge the death of Mello. Okay, first of all, it's avenge. You're getting revenge. But when you're talking about a person, you're avenging them. Also, Mello should be capitalized. He would revenge the death of Mello if it was the last thing he did. Cliché is cliché. He went even faster on his motorbike because it would be dark soon and he couldn't see anything except the light bits because of his headlights. Surely you've been in a car with somebody before as they, drove at night. And isn't he going pretty fast anyway? The speed of a speeding bullet, as you said. It was a 3,000-mile drive, and the speed limit was 30, and he knew that if he was going to get to get where the action was, he would have to be going fast and went faster. He's already going fast. What does it matter what the speed limit is if he's going to go faster than the speed limit? Whatever. Suddenly he stopped. Suddenly he stopped suddenly. Okay. He saw the taillights of a porch. Are we following behind Tartarus or something? I didn't know. My porch has taillights. I can go out there with a camera and show you right now. Or I would, but it's driving down the road. It's gonna go get a pizza, and then I'll be back. Up ahead, and the driver was laughing like mad, and something about the car just didn't seem right somehow. Well, of course it doesn't. It's a porch. It's a porch! He stepped on it. He stepped on the porch, I guess, and did a wheelie for some reason, because the road was abandoned. The road isn't abandoned if there's somebody else driving on it. And because he was going fast, the wind running past his ears like a NASCAR on steroids, only faster. You can only go so fast. A car, what does a car do? 250 at its fastest normally? I don't know what a bike does. I'll say just as fast because I don't know. Suddenly, wait. Oh yeah, okay, I read that one. I was trying to reread it again. He got out his gun and shooted at the back window of the porch. It shattered and swerved all over the road, and Matt had to yell, "What are you doing, you fucking psycho?" SYKO, and jumped in the back window. Why would he be screaming this? Of course it's going to swerve all over the road. You're shooting at it. The driver was a tall, skinny man with greasy hair called Yotsuba. No, Yotsuba was a company. It was a board of directors, essentially. And he was laughing and driving and writing something in his book as he drove. Matt looked at the book even closer and noticed and he noticed something to his horror. It was a death note! Flashback! A bit later that day. Wait, did I skip it? No, that's exactly what it says. Okay. Now I accidentally skipped a line. Later, as Yotsuba got to the end of the road, Matt made his move and he jumped in the driver's seat and grabbed the wheel, thus killing them both. Yotsuba screamed like a little girl, only manlier because he was big and covered his face with his arms. The car crashed into a wall and exploded in a ball of flame. One of the drivers died? So wait, hold on. Yotsuba, that's a board of directors, is apparently one person in this story, but now there's suddenly at least two, and they were both driving the car. Okay. Also, I guess Matt's bike just crashed somewhere since it doesn't have a driver. One of the drivers died instantly, and the other stole the death note and jumped back on his motorbike and drove off. It was, you'll have to find out later, what? And jumped back on his motorbike. Well then, you just told me that Matt got the death note and then got back on his motorbike that's somehow that hasn't like crashed or anything for some reason. Also, what am I trying to think? I'm sick and I should just go with it and just say fuck it. Present day! Light, what the freaking hell were you freaking doing killing Naomi and Mikami? No, actually he killed Takada, not Naomi, though he probably already killed Naomi by this point. Screamed Dark as he punched Light in the gut pretty hard, and Light screamed. What does this matter? I had to do it, or they would have said our names to the police and we'd be arrested. Or they just say Light's name, though I don't know why either of them would say Light's name since they're both fucking loyal to him. And nobody knew about Dark until like yesterday. Or today. Who knows? Oh, okay, said Dark, calming down a bit and putting his shirt back on. Because to punch Light he had to take his shirt off? You didn't establish he was wearing a shirt at all anyway. But we need to take more care in the future, Dark added as Light rubbed lotion on his sore tummy. What's lotion going to do about being punched? Blood came in the doorway. I have bad news! Matt survived the car crash because they planned for this. And they know who Matt is, he said madly as he chowed down on a blood bananofi pie that Misa had made earlier because she was a good cook from the TV, at least in the movie. Misa left. She ran out of Sayu's window. She couldn't have done that. And I don't think she could have even made that for him, being it's a blood banana. It is a banana made out of blood. You said this. What car crash? Said Light. His gut was really hurting, and also it was bruised bad too. Well, I assume so if you got punched in the stomach. Oh, I didn't tell you my death note can also kill people in the past, and I'm going to write his name in it in the future to kill him in the past and stop him stealing the death note, said Dark, pointing to his royal death note. No, No, and no. That's not... You can't just have a Death Note that does everything. I mean, granted, this is a nonsense story, but you can't have a Death Note that does everything to cover your ass. If Light had a Death Note like that, nobody could ever touch Light. L would be no problem. He just writes down the letter L, and L would die. Or all he'd have to write down is, there's a guy who's after Kira. I want him dead. Like, in 30 seconds of a motorcycle accident. Ow, I hit the chair. Then why is blood, not capitalized, telling me now, not in the future? What? What sense does that make? Light says he scratched his head. It's one of those time paradox that they have in Back to the Future, Dark replied, and picked up his Death Note. Paradox instead of time parodies. Yeah. And we're talking about Back to the Future? Really? Really? Also, Death Note is capitalized when it's not capitalized when it really should be. He picked up the Death Note and wrote, Yuri said he picked up his Death Note, and wrote, Matt dies yesterday's in a car crash, and the Death Note glowed a funny color, which meant it was doing stuff in the past. Because that's how Death Notes work, right? Right. Suddenly, Matt was back in the car, and before he knew what the hell was happening, he jumped and grabbed the steering wheel, and the car crashed again, but this time, Yotsuba survived, and he climbed out just before there was big explosion that was like 10 times the size of a normal explosion because the Death Note had done magic, so it magic to it and threw bits of Matt all over the road. It was a sick sight, not least because the bits of Matt were squishy in places and his goggles were on fire, and so was his hair, and there was blood all over as one word, the road, which made Yotsuba lose his lunch, and that made things even sicker. Yotsuba picked up Matt's PSP and decided to take it with him to play with on the train, because he's going to get on the train for some reason. He laughed evilly again and took Matt's motorbike and drive to the railroad, where he took a train to Lightstown. It's called a motorcycle, not a motorbike, but motorbike works. Also, was the motorbike still going perfectly without crashing? Also, did it just stop when the car crashed and waited for somebody to use it? And if this was something that just happened today, whatever. Why am I trying to make sense out of this? Back in the future! Elle looked at the Death Note Sayu had stolen from Misa. There was some rules in the front, but wait, what? No, Misa's Death Note never had the rules written. Rim just showed up and gave it to her and told her how it worked. There were some rules in the front, but he figured how it worked anyway because he was a genius and worked it out. I guess he did just like Light did and killed a couple people to figure out what he could and couldn't do with it. He picked up a pen from his desk and said, "Time to test this bad boy out." But how was he able to figure out what he did if he hasn't wrote anything yet? He opened the book and wrote, "Light's mom." Why? Why not write Light Yagami? Or Dark Yagami? You know what they look like. You know what their names are. Why kill her? In fact, her husband is helping you. Why kill him? Next chapter coming soon, and it will be pretty intense, so watch it. Also, review, please. Chapter 6 may be last chapter or not. This is probably the last chapter, though I may add some more after. It all depends whether people like it. And then the same thing Except, remember they said for some reason the first line kept being doubled, and they didn't know how to fix it? Well, this time it's doubled, kind of, but it's italicized, and then on the end, vote! What the frack are you doing, Ryuzaki? Shouted Light's dad at L as he wrote his wife's name in the death note. Don't worry, I have a plan, but I hope this works, ... You have a plan so that she won't die, but you hope she does die. Good job! Also, fanfic author, great way of establishing that L is at the same time Ryuzaki. He replied as he pulled a second death note out of his bag, but this one was glittery and white and made of silk and said life note on the front. Stab things, everything, kill it all. If you wanted to bring somebody back to life, you don't need some bullshit you made up called a life note. You need a death eraser. In Lights and Dark's house, because it's no longer Light's house anymore, it's Light and Dark, Light's mom jumped through the door and said in a strange voice that was not hers, I am L. I know that you are Kira Dark Yagami. My cat is going crazy. I am L. I know that you are Kira Dark Yagami, and I am going to reveal it to the world, and then arrest you later. Holy shit, muttered Dark as Light's mom danced around the room under the control of the Death Note, which was making her say all these things. Wasn't there something Light established in his testing that said that people really couldn't do things that they didn't know? That they just died? I don't know. It's been a while since I've read or watched Death Note, so I can't remember. Also, I'm not dead. You're planning to kill me. Well, clearly you're not dead, because when she popped in, she said she was L. Also, I'm not dead. You're planning to kill me, Phil, because I'm smart enough to make Why would you do that? Why would you do that? He should be a double agent for you. Why would you do that? I am smart enough to make Soichiro on my side, she continued, though it wasn't her saying all this crazy stuff, it was L using the Death Note, which you already stated. Light's mom pulled a knife out of her apron and held it against Stark and said, Sade, not said, Sade, S-A-Y-D, I don't have the evidence yet, but if you come with me to the warehouse... What warehouse? Then I think we can come to an agreement. What? You can't have people... Well, you can't make other people kill people using the Death Note. But you can, as Light found out in the movie, you can set it up to where you can trick the Death Note into making that happen. I don't remember if that was something that is plausible in the anime, in the manga, but that's the thing. Also, why would L want to come to an agreement with Kira? Are we going to join Kira's side or something? Then she fell over and died. She died herself with a heart attack. That's a nice color, don't you think? L, you fucking maniac! You killed my wife! You killed my whiff! Light's dad yelled as loud as he could, which was pretty damn loud, 'cause he was a cop. Not so fast, replied the short, messy detective man, and wrote, Light's mom comes back to life, in the life note. There was a blinding flash of light and a noise like a bunch of angels singing, because that's a thing that happens, and Light's mom got up and came back to life. You're alive, cheered. Wait, how is this a thing that happens? How is this a thing that happens? Let me read this so you can understand why I'm confused. You're alive, cheered Soichiro, as he glommed Light's mom to the ground. Light and Dark are a completely different place from L and Light's dad. How is it possible that he can teleport from where he is to hug his wife who is with his kids when they're in completely different places at the moment? But what's going on back at Dark's house? Because it's not Light's house anymore, it's just his house. Yeah. So did it like magic teleport her body or something over there? I don't know. WTF, shouted Light. We have to go to the warehouse again. Again? But this time we don't have Mikami. Mikami did jack all. Mikami did jack all. By the end of Death Note when you guys were at the warehouse. He shouted. Calm down, Light, Dirk said. I have another plan, and this will end the story once and for all. They went to the warehouse, and Elle was waiting for them there. Nier was there as well, and he was playing with some toy robot or something. I don't know. It's not really important. Then why mention it? In fact, why does Nier need to be there at all? I have come of my own free will, but it appears that it was not needed, for you have no proof that I'm Kira. Granted, he did say that, and why did Elle say that? There was no reason to. Yeah, that's right. That's where you're wrong, Elle replied. You don't have any evidence that I'm Kira, said Dirk triumphantly. But you came here. That proves you are Kira, Elle decried. He decried? Dirk was so shocked that he fell to the floor screaming. Why? And how does coming to a warehouse prove it? Elle just told him to come to the warehouse, so he did. How could he have given himself away so easily? This doesn't make any sense because you haven't done anything to give yourself away. But he still had his trump card waiting in his pants. A ginormous dick! A smiley face on it. He reached... Yeah, He reached into his pocket and took the Royal Death Note out of his pocket. Which now definitely proves you're Kira. He didn't know Elle's name, but he didn't have to. He wrote Elle in the book, and straight away the detective fell over and started dying. How are you doing this? Asked Elle forcefully, as he rolled on the floor, suffering heart attacks, more than one, and pain. Because my Shinigami is the king of the Shinigami. Jason! How are you doing this? Asked Elle forcefully as he rolled on the floor, suffering heart attacks, more than one, and pain. Because my Shinigami is the king of the Shinigami, and has the power to kill anyone, even if you don't know their name, as in a place. Yeah. At that moment, Blue appeared in front of Dark and said, That's where you're wrong, my shiny-haired apprentice. You see, I only pretended to be your Shinigami, but in fact I was Elle's all along. I gave him a life note, and all I have to do is write Elle's name in it, and he will come back to life as good as new, and your plans will have been foiled, as in a bin, recycle bin. Why? Where did this come from, and how come? Elle wrote Elle Wallet. Wait. Why does Elle have to do this? The Shinigami King said he'd do this himself. Elle wrote Elle Lala in the life note and jumped back to his feet. He looked mad and said, Okay, that proved that you were because you killed me. It proved you were what? Kira, a blood banana, a spaceship, anything, even a spoon can kill people. Elle put the handcuffs on Dirk. Now I have put an end to your reign, as in actual rain, from the sky of terror, Kira. I hope our paths never cross again. Blood then whispered in Dirk's ear, I don't actually work for Elle. He only thinks I do, when really I work for you. What kind of shitty thing is this? You can't retcon something you were retconning. Dark replied, where everybody could hear him, I know, ... everything went exactly as planned. In prison. Prison life was good to Dark because he was Kira and everyone in prison was his bitch. He could eat lots of prison food and, that's really not good food. And prison wouldn't be good to him. He'd pretty much be on death row, if not secretly killed by Elle and everybody else. Eats a lot of prison food, And because he had given L a fake royal death note and not the real one, he could... Wait, how did... You wrote in it and killed L. You wrote in it. So how is it fake? Given L a fake royal death note, and not the real one, he could hypnotize prisoners into doing illegal stuff for him, and then dying without the guards catching on. No. No. You can't hypnotize anybody. And you can't fake die if... Why am I trying to put logic here when there is none? This person, read a synopsis of Death Note but didn't actually know anything about Death Note? Then one day he wrote the names of everyone in the prison and all the guards and stuff too, and made them dig a tunnel out. Why would he do that? Why wouldn't he just have them open the door so he could walk out of the front gates? When L found out, he was mad. Because he wouldn't have found out that he had a fake death note. How did he escape the prison? L asked ponderously as he chewed a big old mouth of gummy candy and gum, because he would eat that at the same time. Then he looked at the royal death note and noticed it was fake and not even matter, because he wouldn't have tested it or anything to make sure it was authentic. I'll get you, Dark Yagami, if it's the last thing I do, he cried like a stereotypical villain. Meanwhile, at the Yagami house... Welcome back, Dark, said Light's mom, who didn't remember all the dying and mean stuff she said earlier. She didn't say anything mean. Also, he had blood wipe Suritra's head so he would forget too. That's not how shit works. Me and Misa are going steady, said Sayu to Dark. Want a threesome? She winked. Better make it a foursome, joked Light Yagami, and everyone laughed. Because incest and Yuri is fantastic. Also, lesbians are not into you guys. Even if they are your sister, they are not into your shit. They do not like dicks. They are lesbians. They do not like dicks. The end. Miles away, Yotsuba was just getting off his train, holding the death note he had stolen from Matt, which he didn't steal because it was his own death note. But whatever. Now the party can really begin. Or is it? Well, that was special. Oh wait, we're lying about the end. We still have 40 chapters to go. Technically 41. I'm gonna go take some medicine. Be back.